We are live from London, and it is an honor that Milad Shadrooh,
Nice to meet you.
joined me today. You're old enough to be my son. I'm 53. You're 35. How I came onto you, which I thought was so amazing, is you did a what would you call it? A YouTube hip hop rap video about dentistry.
Exactly right. Parodies.
A parody.
Singing parody. Yep.
And I posted that on Dental Town and my Facebook and stuff, and everybody just thought it was a hoot. And I thought, well, I'm gonna be in London next week. I wanted to meet the man who did the rapping hoot.
Thanks for having me.
So now, was that is that like a just fun and giggles, or is that a form of marketing?
Well, it started as fun and giggles purely. So it was the first one I did was about endo, basically, and it was done to the Drake song Hotline Bling, and it was about I should have never done the endo, basically, because there's a lot of kind of stuff now in the UK. A lot of dentists a bit sort of nervous about patients being unhappy with treatment, and a lot of this kind of suing stuff going on. We are now the highest dental sued people in the world, much more than America.
London or the
England.
whole
in the United Kingdom, absolutely.
Would that include Scotland and Wales, or is that
no? Scotland's different.
Scotland's different.
Yeah,
so it's mostly an England thing.
In England, absolutely. So there's a lot of kind of, and I'm part of all the like dental social networks and things. There was noises about people being unhappy and grumbly, and the words just came to me. I have a bit of a background in music, so I did that as a pure joke. So I did the parody to Hotline Bling about endo and how much I don't like it, and sent it to a friend of mine. He thought it was hilarious. It was literally just recorded very rough on my phone in my surgery. Sent it to him. He shared it. It got shared and went a little bit viral. It was about 200,000+ views. And then from that, thank you very much.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was huge. Totally organic and not planned at all. And then from that, people were saying, "Oh, this is great. You should do more of it. It's so funny." So then that's when I thought, you know what, this could be a good way to engage with the public on a different vibe, show a different side to dentists. We have a sense of humor. We can have a laugh as well. But at the same time, put little bits of sort of oral hygiene advice, a little bit of prevention advice, and things like that in the songs. So then I actively started thinking about parodies, and I've done about 6 or 7 now. So yeah, they're doing all right.
So does it attract patients?
Absolutely, yeah. It's been.
What type of it? I'm thinking it would be someone who I'm afraid of the dentist, but you doing a parody makes you seem approachable.
That's exactly right. So it's been the nervous patients definitely engage with them a lot more, because it breaks down those type of barriers and those fears that people have for dentists, thinking we're monsters or evil or horrible people. So
we're all those.
Yeah, all of those, but we can
with
hide
a
that.
drill.
Yeah, exactly.
And a shot.
So it's been that group of people, children especially. That's been the highest by far, because it's just something funny. The videos, I kind of move my eyebrows a lot, and the songs, the lyrics are funny, so it engages. You want to get that down the camera?
How many of those do you have?
How many eyebrows?
How many music parodies do you have?
There are 6 or 7 now.
Can you send them all to Ryan?
Absolutely,
and afterwards we put them all back to back, so my homies get to hear all this
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's hits like Gappy, which is the parody of Happy.
Yeah, I love the original song Happy. I love Gappy.
Gappy's been the most popular by far. It's doing well, and we kind of might be doing something with it. Let's see what happens, what the future holds. So yeah, it's good. The response has been really, really good. And even within the industry, everywhere I go now, all the dentists, everyone's pretty much seen it.
So let's get real. So are my homies allowed to? The scuttle rumor is that Elvis Presley lifted all those songs, all those great songs from the Mississippi Delta back when it was hard for black artists to get a contract.
Deals. Okay.
So can my homies all lift your songs? And start singing Happy on YouTube.
Gappy
can they start singing Gappy? Can they be the dental Elvis Presley
Elvis,
tribute?
That's fine. I don't mind.
To Milad.
I can share the love. It's fine. I don't mind.
Oh,
nice.
What is kind of funny though that I'm talking to the singing dentist,
right?
And that's what you're known as.
Yes.
In London.
Yes.
Which when I was born in '62. In the '70s, it was like 3 out of every 4 major bands in the world came out of this city, and everybody around the world used to wonder why was that? Why do you think that was?
I don't know. I guess the culture of the UK at that time, what was happening here. I mean, I guess the Beatles would have been the biggest thing in the world at the time. I don't really know why it was so much UK based, but it was, and there's a lot of good musicians, as you say quite rightly, from here, and they paved the way, I would say, for future artists and that kind of global superstar thing. So, and it's kind of continued. I mean, even now, recently, we've seen a resurgence of the UK artists in America. I know Adele is doing so well worldwide. One Direction, obviously the UK band, are doing really well in America. It's always been that thing for the UK artists though to break America. That's been the one. And for the ones that are doing that, Ed Sheeran, he's doing really well. So, I mean, UK music just seems to be, you know,
I'll name
doing
something that
really
might
well.
be older than your time. Todd Rundgren.
Don't know.
You don't know Todd Rundgren?
Todd Rundgren.
Todd Rundgren?
Rundgren. No.
Rundgren?
Last night I was feeling something wasn't right. There was not another soul
Maybe like in the
inside.
70s?
Yeah, I'm old, I know. I guess some people theorized that since the British, you know, had the first Navy and had this British Empire, the sun never set on the British Empire. That the one thing that's unique, I've lectured in 50 countries, and you go to Poland, it's 98% Polish. You go to Vietnam, it's all Vietnamese. You go to Korea, it's all Korean. Very few countries are like, and London is the most, where you go on the corner. I mean, look at this hotel. There's 20 flags on this hotel. You come here. Every person you talk to is from a different corner of the earth, and I always wondered when you walk down London, all those different restaurants, that maybe all those musical sounds from every corner of the world. Do you think that played into the soup to make so much original sounds?
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, London, especially London, but I mean, even the UK, it's always been multicultural, you know, massively. And I think that's a good thing, because when you learn from other cultures, things come in, it influences everything. Like you said, it influences the diet. I mean, the number one UK meal is a curry.
And what is a curry? Is that
Curry?
Indian? Indian?
Yeah. So I think it enriches the culture when you have input from all other cultures. It can only improve and enrich, I think, what you do.
We saw a hamburger stand where it was where the Indians were wearing their hat, but they were wearing kilts.
Nice.
What was that? Remember that? So the top half they were dressed Indian, and the bottom half they were wearing Scottish kilts. It was hilarious.
Nice.
It was a hamburger restaurant.
We get that a lot here. So you know, I have a lot of Asian friends, Indian friends, that when they speak with a full-blown Scottish accent because they're from Scotland.
Yeah,
and it's a interesting dynamic when you see that, and it happens a lot here because of the second, third, fourth generations now that are in the UK.
Now, Sade was from Nigeria.
Yes,
but she broke out in London,
UK. Yeah,
and she's my number one.
Yeah, she's fantastic
artist back home. But I always think that was so London. I mean, she was Nigerian, so I'm sure she brought a lot of Nigerian sounds.
Yeah.
She came to London, worked out her band Sade, and it's.
Oh, she's great. I have the greatest hits in my car.
So you were a DJ in school?
Yeah. So kind of I started MCing. So that was the first thing from around about 12.
And what is
13.
MCing?
MCing is basically kind of when you talk over the music, but it becomes
like a rapper.
MC stands for Master of Ceremony. Exactly, like a rapper.
Master of Ceremony.
Exactly. Like so MCs would normally talk over stuff or hype the crowd up or kind of introduce things, but then it became then putting little rhymes on top of the music to go with the music, and then it turned into full-blown rapping basically. So I did that from about 11, 12, writing stuff, mimicking other people, and then from about 13 I was doing it in clubs and under sort of 18 events where there was no alcohol. It was kind of in the daytime. There was clubs in the day for under 18s. And then from there, I just carried on doing it. I had a passion for it. I was quite good at it at the time.
So that's on those. So that was actually with a record.
Yeah.
So were you like
vinyl.
touching it with your finger?
100%. Yeah. Scratching vinyl. Proper.
Scratching vinyl.
Yeah. No laptops in those days. Like when I would do the gigs as well. So from about 18, 19, I was on radio stations, and it was a UK movement of music called garage music, which developed from house, like the US house. And I'd go to clubs with record boxes, vinyls. You'd have about 2 or 3 friends that would come with you carrying your vinyl. It was heavy.
So why did it's kind of interesting because the whole world went from vinyl to MP3 digital.
Yep, absolutely.
But the rappers kept the vinyl just so they could
scratch it and mimic it, because in the beginning of that transition, the software, the computer stuff, the algorithms weren't as strong to be able to be so responsive. So for scratch DJs that would manipulate the sounds and manipulate the records, that couldn't be emulated particularly well with the MP3 formats and the software. As that's got a lot better, and the digital sort of platforms have improved, it's now seamless, and so many DJs will use electrical stuff, but the traditionalists, they're still using vinyl, but they've changed the way that works. So vinyl, they have special vinyls now that will trigger the MP3s. So they have a laptop but still connected to the decks, the old turntables, so they can still scratch like they used to.
I don't want to be that old grumpy grandpa that's always whining about the next generation, but I have to whine about the next generation.
Okay.
When we were little, the album was an experience.
Yeah.
You would buy an album, you'd listen from first song to that, then you'd flip it and you listen to the whole deal. I see my grandchildren and all that, they just pick that one hit off each of these artists, and they just bounce on, they'll listen to 20 songs by 20 artists, and they just don't get that artist experience. And I think back when we were little, and it took so much money to buy an album, and so you could only buy one maybe every 6 months or a year. I mean, you didn't buy a lot of them, but I had 5 sisters, so or one of the sisters was buying an album.
Yeah.
But when we would buy an album, we would burn it 30, 40, 50 times front to back.
Yep.
And like you take the Rolling Stones Tattoo You album. I can still tell you 50 years later every song in a row, what it starts with, Start Me Up, it ends with Waiting on a Friend. But it was such an experience, and I think kids are missing out just doing the one-hit wonders.
I agree. I think a lot of that is possibly because it's not a physical thing. So nowadays, when you buy music, it's digital. You just click a button and it appears on your phone or on your iPad or whatever it is. So going to a store, buying a physical thing that you hold in your hand, and it has the sleeve inside, and you open up the sleeve and there's little pictures and there's stories, and sometimes back in the day, I remember when I used to buy, they'd have the lyrics of the songs in the sleeve. So you could sing along and hear, read what the guy's actually singing. So it was tangible. You could hold it in your hand. So then it was more of an experience. You read who the artist says thank you to. First of all, thanks to my parents for backing me. Thanks to my record company. Oh, that's interesting. They don't have that now. You click, buy, 69p later, you've got the song in 2 minutes. Not even 2 minutes. That's really slow internet. 30 seconds, you've got the song. I think that's why. And the kids are growing up with that, so they don't experience it. They just hear the song and then buy the next one. And when you go to iTunes, for example, and you buy this, it then gives you suggestions. Buy this single as well, because it's similar to that. So you just end up buying 100 singles. You don't engage into that album.
And you don't engage the artist.
No, because it's about having the hits. Have the hits, listen to the hits. That's what's on the radio, and that's about it. Album tracks, it's rare that you'll get that one iconic album. I think there's a few artists that are trying to do that still. They're trying to make the albums an experience and a big thing. Other people are just churning out the music because it's a commercial entity.
So let's tie that into dentistry. So a lot of Brits, a lot of Americans, they buy their own $800 iPhone.
Yep.
They buy their own car. They buy their own house. They buy their own vacation. But then when it comes to their human body, their teeth, that's the government's. The NHS should pay for my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
So you should do free dentistry on me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a victim because I was born. I don't brush. I don't floss. I got 6 cavities. You should do them for free.
Yeah.
So I guess my specific question is, when I got out of school, this country, probably only 5% of the dentists didn't take the NIH. The National Health and NHS, National Health Service.
Exactly.
Now, 3 decades later, twice as many, like 10% don't take it, but a whole nother 40% are mixed with private pay, NHS, and America's going through the same thing, because America, when I was little and got out, we had indemnity insurance where you just sent the insurance company your bill.
The bill, yep.
And they just paid 1% of it. That was
okay.
They just said, okay, we'll pay 100% cleaning, exam, and X-ray, 80% filling, root canal, 50% crown, denture, partial, and then 2 decades later they flipped it and said, oh, by the way, we're just going to send you our fee that we'll pay. We don't care what your fee is. We're going to send you the fee, and it was 40% less.
Oh.
So now the dentists in America are trapped because about 82% of them are taking these PPOs, and most of them don't realize that they're doing most of their dentistry at a break-even or a loss.
Oh, wow.
So how do you, and that's why their income's gone from $219,000 a decade ago to $174,000 today on average. So they've lost $45,000 of income on this. So How do you wrestle with this? Let's go specifically the NHS versus fee for service, because you're next generation.
So,
even though you've been doing it 12 years.
Yeah, 12 years. I'm ready to retire. No.
And just sing into the...
I just sing, yeah.
Sing.
If only it paid. So that is the question. It's always going to be the issue here in the UK. And also, I mean, the first thing we have to realise is NHS dentistry is different to NHS everything else. Because NHS dentistry, patients still pay. Whereas with NHS medicine, they don't. You can go to A&E, sit there for 4 or 5 hours, and you get treated for
What's
free.
A&E?
So accident emergency. So
Okay,
ER,
accident emergency.
right? So you can go there and the doctors will see you and treat you and, stick your arm back on that's fallen off for free. You get no medical bill afterwards. You go to your GP, your general practitioner, your doctor, you have a cold. You go and see them free. They give you a prescription, if you, whatever, you leave, it's free. You see your general dentist, you pay £19 and 70p for an examination.
£19 and
70 pence.
Pence.
Yes.
And what is a pence? A penny?
Pence, yeah, it's like a cent.
A
So
cent?
100 pence makes a pound.
Huh. And I wonder where the pound came from. A pound of what, I wonder?
Yeah, no idea. So, you pay for dentistry in the UK. The group of people that do not pay for NHS dentistry are those that are receiving certain exemptions from the government. So like tax exemptions, family sort of support, pension credits, things like that. Nursing mothers, expectant mothers. So it's only that group of people that get it 100% free. Everybody else pays. So if you have a filling, you pay. It's just you pay a lower percentage. And then the government top that up to whatever your value is in that area. So the way the NHS works here, we have these things called UDAs, which is a unit of dental activity. And there's only 3 bands for this. So number 1 is a checkup, an examination, a quick scale and polish, x-rays, prevention advice, all of that comes under bracket 1. And you get 1 unit for that.
And how long would they give you to do the clean exam and x-ray?
Up to you.
That's up to you.
Do it in 5 minutes if you really want to make loads of money and do not very good dentistry. Do it in 15 minutes if you want to do a better job. But you get paid the same.
And what would that pay be?
It depends where you are. So for that 1 unit of activity, some people, they're getting £30 for it. Other people are getting £20 for it, £25, £22. It's different all across the kind of England, basically.
And a pound a day, $1 US would buy 0.7 pounds.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay,
something like that.
so
So let's say on average it's £25 for that 1 dental of activity, unit of activity. The patient pays £19.70. The government pays the remaining £5.30. That's how it works.
Okay, so then how do you do a mixed NHS and private? Can you say to that patient, okay, the government's going to pay 5, you're supposed to pay 19, but in my practice, you're going to have to pay more? Or
Okay,
does
so-
the NHS say, no, you can't charge any more than that?
Okay, so this is where it can be a little bit difficult when you're mixing treatments. So if you're 100% private, it's easy. If you're 100% NHS, it's easy. It's when you have the bit in the middle where you want to do something different, because the NHS doesn't cover all your options. It will cover the options that are clinically necessary for you to fix the situation. So that is open to interpretation by different dentists. I mean, you have a hole, you have a missing tooth. Yeah, an implant will work beautifully in there, but is that going to be clinically necessary for you to have an implant when you could have a single tooth denture? So the NHS would quite happily pay for a single tooth denture. Could you make an argument for them to pay for the implant? Not really, because you would get paid £280. That's not going to cover anything for a dental implant. You see, white fillings. So you can have an amalgam filling, because we're still using amalgam over here. We love it. Until the mercury thing becomes totally not allowed, because there's the thing coming in, isn't there, which is going to stop like worldwide use of mercury slowly. It's coming in. We still use amalgam. You could put an amalgam on the lower 6. It's a perfectly justifiable filling. It's been used for
Well,
how many years?
I'm embarrassed of my country's position on amalgam, because I think I really do. I think it's insane. So I got out of school. The average filling lasts 38 years, and it was metal.
Yeah.
And then it was my profession's bright idea to go cosmetic and replace it with plastic that lasts about 6.5. And you tell my homies that it lasts 6.5, and every one of them, I'm going to say, oh, well, Howard, I understand that everyone else's lasts 6.5, but you got to understand mine, I'm special. I am all this. Mine lasts forever. And I'm like, okay, if you go to KFC and you go behind the dumpster and find a meth head and you show them your silverware fork from home and you show them the KFC fork and you say, hey, crackhead, which one lasts longer? A crackhead will say, I'm pretty sure the metal one lasts longer. But only an American dentist would say, nope, the plastic fork at KFC lasts longer. And they're doing these composite fillings in 6-year-old boys who don't give a shit what their tooth looks like, who don't want a shot, who don't want this thing to fail. And the metal is antibacterial. It's copper or tin oxide is stannous fluoride. Silver, we've used silver in pediatric dentistry. What is it? The silver, then silver nitrate lining. Everything in an amalgam is antibacterial. And they replace it with this inert plastic that gets wiped out by a bacterial infection in 6.5 years. So kudos to the Brits for and so why do you think it's going to get banned?
It is. There's I forget the name of it, but there's this convention thing coming. I think something. We'll look it up on Google. It's coming in that it's like a ban on mercury. Anything that has mercury in it. It's coming in.
You know what was my last straw with mercury when I gave up on it is when mercury is bond to a silver, zinc, copper, it's an insoluble salt. If you swallow an amalgam, 24 hours later you poop it out, you weigh it, there's nothing. But it's the ethyl and methyl mercury that goes into the ocean, sinks to the bottom, and gets picked up by crab, shrimp, etc. And then when you eat seafood, it actually goes in your bloodstream. So to watch these anti-amalgam dentists, and you're at lunch and they're having shrimp cocktail and crab and all that, talking about how bad silver fillings are, you just know they're one step away from needing to be hit with a frying pan. But what's bad about the silver fillings is 50% of the atmospheric mercury comes from burning coal, which we need to get rid of. But 3%, some say 6%, is from cremating humans after death, and their amalgam fillings are getting cremated. And it's like, so why don't the dentists pass laws that you can't cremate a human until a dentist goes in there and extracts all the dead teeth? And I want to be the anesthesiologist for that procedure. I want to be the guy that numbs up the dead man.
Nice.
And then you pull the teeth.
But how do you know it's work though? You have to check if the.
So amalgam is I guess it's like Sade's song. It's the sweetest taboo.
The sweetest taboo.
I mean, it's never going to go away. Amalgam has mercury, so it's always going to be the gay cousin of composite. You know what I mean? It's just never going to be normal. It's like, but he's gay. He's gay. He's got Freddie Mercury in him. You like these puns?
That was
you like
good,
these
man.
puns?
That's good. This is high level.
This is high level punning.
Your Jedi level.
You had to be an owl wearing a graduation cap to catch that last two puns. But
I like it.
So then how do you? But I guess this is a personal question.
Sure.
How do you wrestle between a patient who wants this at the lowest cost, NHS, the NHS will only pay this, but then goes out and buys an $800 iPhone. And so in your practice, how do you wrestle? What percent are you NHS versus private?
So
how do you wrestle that?
My practice is a mixed practice in that we have NHS contract. So you have a responsibility to provide NHS treatment. So when you have a contract with the NHS, it's basically calculated on you do this many units of activity in a year, and we give you this much money, and that's guaranteed. You do your target UDAs, you get your money. If you miss your target, unit of dental activity.
Unit of dental activity.
You do your UDAs, you get your money. If you don't do the UDAs, they take the money back because they're paying you every month to deliver that. So you have to manage your associates, you manage your activity and make sure that you're on target. That's how the thing works. So you have an obligation. And that was brought in initially to try and make sure that everybody has access. So it wasn't anymore about how many patients you have or, driving treatments to make more money. It's almost like you're capped at your money. So if you do more UDAs, there's no more money. They won't pay you extra. Certain people have a sort of clause in their contract to say that if you have over 100 and maybe 5%, they'll pay you that extra money. But there's just no money in the NHS to do this. So there are dentists that finish their activity in 9 months. What did they do for 3 months? If you're seeing people and doing those UDAs, you're not getting paid for them. Take a 3-month holiday. But then is that ethical? Because then if your patient's knocking on the door with toothache and you say, well, I can't see you because I'm not going to get paid to see you. So what do? I'll see you privately. Is that ethical if you're in NHS practice? So these are the situations that have been created by this system. And it is hard at times. It is hard to be able to work within this system. It works great for some people. It doesn't work for others. But it depends on your ethics. That's when ethics comes in, because everybody's different. Everyone has a different moral compass.
You said ethics?
Yeah.
I'm an American. I don't understand. We're invading someone every day. We're shooting someone every day with a drone. Can you explain what an ethic is?
Yeah, it's so
then how do you do it in your practice? You personally,
I am purely private in my practice.
You're purely private.
I'm purely private now. The only NHS I do is children, because children are free. So under 18, they don't pay. So for my private patients, I see their children on the NHS and they don't pay, but the parents pay privately for me. Because I'm the principal of the practice, I have chosen to go private. But I have associates that will do the NHS work. So we never turn anybody away in my practice. We are more of the ethical type. If a patient needs, so let me give you an example, a molar root canal. We'll get around about £70 to do a molar endo. £70.
£70, that'd be $50 US?
No, slightly more, about $100 for a molar endo.
You get £70,
yeah,
and $100 US.
Yeah, and that's with the government paying the top up. The patient pays £51.30 for molar endo.
So you get 100 from the NHS and
No. Total.
100 total.
Yeah.
How do you
so the patient will pay £51.30p and the government will top that up like by £20 or whatever your UDA value is. Molar endo.
So you do the molar endo for 100 US.
Yeah.
Okay, the Americans do it for 1,000 US.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So how do you do it for 100 US?
You lose money on every molar endo. 100%. You lose money. You pay for the patient to have a molar endo done. So why not just take the tooth out? Because you get paid the same. This is the situation. That's a band 2 treatment. An extraction and an endo are the same value in the UK. So whether it's an incisor endo or a molar endo, it's the same money. They don't seem to understand that an incisor endo could take you 45 minutes, a molar endo will take you 2 hours, 3 hours to do well. They pay no mind to that. So you get paid the same. An extraction is the same. So for me to take 20 minutes to take that tooth out, or for me to take 2.5 hours to endo it, I will get $100. So I'm like, if I'm having a bad day, I'll say, you don't want to save that tooth. Endos fail. It's really tricky. You really want to hold your mouth open for 2.5 hours? Let me just take it out.
So how many dentists are in UK?
40,000?
40,000.
I think
I saw, what was it, 40,000, 2,000, 5 years ago. So it's got to be over 40,000.
Okay.
If you went to my American homies and told them you're going to get paid $100 for a root canal, or same to pull it, I would think that would have to massively change the amount of root canals being done. I mean, I would think in America it would just plummet.
Yeah.
So is that what happens? I mean, I can't see 40,000 British dentists saying, I want to do a molar root canal
anymore because of that. But we are doing molar root canals on a daily basis. And then obviously, do you guys have the single use, right? So endo files, you chuck them away every time, throw them away. Yeah. So we do that here as well because of the prions, because we don't want to get, like, you can't sterilize endo instruments, right?
I don't know. All I know is in the United States, again, my values are very different. I get paid $1,000. And so the biggest nightmare for me would be if a file broke.
Yeah.
So and if I was going to have a procedure, say I was going to have a colonoscopy, I wouldn't want to say, oh yeah, we just used it on Henry an hour ago, but we wiped it off.
Yeah.
Some of the orthodontists used to sterilize braces and brackets.
Wow.
But then when the other people would find out that, dude, I'm paying you $6,000 and I have to wear Amy's ortho brackets. So,
that's not
but
nice.
The orthodontist was like, well, I'm recycling. I mean, I get it, but it's emotional. But
okay.
So at $1,000, I throw away all my files because I just don't want one to break. But if I was getting paid $100, I think I would probably be autoclaving them
to death. Yeah.
To death.
Yeah, not allowed.
You're not allowed to what?
Autoclave them. So in the UK, we don't autoclave them because of mad cow disease.
Oh, mad cow disease.
Yeah,
Now,
the
you're
new
just saying
variant
that because I'm
CJD.
fat. You're just
No,
saying
no,
that.
no. That wasn't.
If I had a
Freudian.
6-pack,
That wasn't Freudian.
Really?
Slip. No, not at all.
because some people have called me a mad
disease.
cow.
Yeah. So yeah, new
I'm
variant
the
CJD.
mad cow of dentistry.
Prions. These new prions that we are fighting. This new.
Okay,
variant
explain what a
CJD.
prion is.
So it's the new variant.
Explain what mad cow disease, because that
Mad
was
cow
10
disease.
years ago.
Yeah. So the cows that we were eating were mad, and they were giving us these.
They had some brain
Yes.
or what was it?
Encephalitis, I think. wasn't it?
Encephalitis,
Yeah.
and they were-
then it's this big thing happened, and I think McDonald's took a bit of a hit because it was found in a couple of their burgers, and then so the microbiologists and the pathologists are now saying that this stuff survives in tiny little nooks and crannies. So when you do an endo, and it's in the blood, right? So when you do an endo, and in that file, the prions might hide away in the grooves of the file, and you can't disinfect that properly, you can't sterilize that properly in an autoclave, so they survive, and then you put it into somebody else, and that's the
Do
theory.
you believe this?
No comment.
It's full of shit.
Plead the
right?
fifth. No, I can't. I don't know.
Well, I'll give you this, Terry.
So that's why we chuck them away.
John Kenka said something very profound on this show where, there's a lot of young dentists that are anti-mercury, and when they remove it, they put on a NASA spacesuit and high vacuum.
I have a bit of
And
plastic that comes down, and I put my arms through it.
you do that? No. And I mean, my God. And they're like, you're like, okay, you're such a dork. And they're like, well, it's all talk. Okay, well, there's 211,000 humans alive in the United States that have a dental degree. And John Kagan said, if drilling out these amalgam fillings caused any of this stuff, on a sample size of 211,000, you would totally see what it did versus the general public.
Yeah.
Because the general public just chews on their amalgam. We're drilling it out all day long.
Inhaling that vapor all day.
And so if this, if any of this NASA astronaut suit stuff was necessary, you'd think all these older dentists would show all these symptoms, which you just clearly don't see. But I'll tell you,
Give it time. I'm sure it'll come in the UK.
Oh, the mercury removal.
the NASA suit.
And another thing is, what I thought was interesting with autism, where another person on the show said, a lot of people say, well, the rise in autism is because of just the way we're measuring it. And it's like, okay, well, you can certainly measure old people right now. So why do you not see this huge number of autistic elderly? And then in my generation, it was like 1 in, I forgot the numbers, something like 1 in 400. But in this generation, it's like 1 in 80. So it's like you can't say we're measuring it differently on a 2-year-old when your grandma and grandpa are sitting right there.
Yeah.
You can go measure them. So something is causing a rapid rise in autism in America.
But, I mean, our life is completely different now. Everything we eat is modified genetically. Everything around us, we all have a mobile phone. I'm sure these things are full of waves and things happening. All the telecommunications we have, we are living in our home is full of waves constantly. Wi-Fi is constantly going on. Your microwave is on 300 times a day. Your TV's giving out juice. Your plugs are there's humming in the background constantly. We've just become deaf to it. So
everything you eat is out of a box.
100%. And even unless you grow it out of a ground that hasn't even been messed with, because that's the other thing. Yeah, grow your own vegetables. Okay, but the ground that you're growing your vegetables on, that's not the same ground that it was 50 years ago. The fertilizers are different. The grass is different. Everything is different now. You can get strawberries all year round. That's not supposed to happen like that. Strawberries are summer fruit. You can go buy one in winter. It tastes like arse, but you can buy one.
Well, that's funny because when I was little, you associated all those fruits with seasons.
That's what I'm saying. You can
say
get a
the
peach.
strawberries
You
are
get a
gonna
peach
be-
any time of the year now because it's grown somewhere out, and that peach, if it's grown like that, it can't be a nice. And they look different. I've seen strawberries that look like an apple. That's not right. That's an Arnold Schwarzenegger of strawberries. It's not supposed to look like that.
Yeah.
So there's stuff in that. So surely this stuff, humans are the same. But if everything we're consuming is different and the world in which we live is different, surely this will have effects on us as well. Who knows? Food for thought.
So let's go back to the endo. So I come
endo.
in, I'm NHS.
Yes.
It's $100. What are you gonna do with me? Now in your office?
Ethically, you do the endo. We do the endo. We take a hit
But
on every endo.
you're the owner and you have associates, or do you have
Yes.
partners?
I'm the owner. I have associates.
How many associates do you have?
3.
So you're a smart businessman.
Apparently.
I mean, you're using leverage.
Yeah.
I mean, if you come out of dental school and then you learn how to push a lawnmower, it'd probably be better to own a lawn mowing service where you had 3 other guys push the lawnmower than pushing it yourself.
Yeah. As long as they mow the grass well, because if they then don't mow the grass well, your business looks rubbish, and then no one will come to you to mow their grass.
And with the rise in lawsuits now,
they will sue you for mowing that grass badly.
Yeah. So back to the molar endo.
Yes.
Why, as a businessman, would you do a molar endo for $100 if your naked costs are going to be $200 or $300?
You're paying them. You're paying them to have that molar endo.
So why would you do that?
Because you must. Because you have a contract with the NHS to deliver service. Because on the flip side of that, so we have this phrase in the UK that we love. Are you ready for this? This will sort most of your problems out in life. It will sort most of your problems out in dentistry. Swings and roundabouts. That's what we say. There's swings and there's roundabouts. So, for that same band too, for an occlusal amalgam, you get $100. For a molar endo, you get $100. So that's what the NHS says. You will take 10 minutes to do an occlusal amalgam. You take 2 hours to do a molar endo. You get paid the same. So in a 12-month period that you have that contract with the NHS for a year, if you add up all those 10 minutes and you're getting $100 for those, and you add up all those molar endos, you get $100 for those, they would assume that by the end of 12 months, you're doing well. Because some of them are swings, some of them are roundabouts.
Okay, and that is true because I've thought the craziest thing about dentistry is all of our costs are in units of time.
Yes.
And we bill in units of procedures. Like if a hygienist does a cleaning exam and x-rays, they'll give her $140. And I go in the next room and I pull 4 wisdom teeth and they'll give me $1,200. How is that even fair? We were both in the room an hour.
Yep.
You go in the room for an hour and do a molar root canal, you get $1,000. You go in the room, so I do get totally, and you see it in hospitals where American hospitals are so dumb they don't have a unit of time. So then when they get the bill, they'll like itemize, and the patient will see that they charge me $200 for an aspirin.
Yep.
And then they'll freak out. They're like, I can go buy that aspirin for $5. Like, yeah, but dude, you're in a hospital room
having that
for 24 hours. If you were in a hotel, there'd be a room fee.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm staying in this hotel and they charge me by the day, but they don't do that in a hospital.
Yep.
And if they would just bill, you were 24 hours in the ER room, here's the damn fee. Then they wouldn't have to be nickel and diming them for
everything,
ibuprofen, all that kind of stuff. So now, what if, what about procedures the NHS doesn't cover? Do they set your fee on that? Like, I assume they don't cover implants.
No, unless it's been like a specific situation, sort of in some dental hospitals, they will. So, I mean, like, if patients had oral cancer, they've lost lots of teeth because of that, etc., then they may qualify to have the implants done. The government will subsidize that. So they have specific situations where you can apply for the funding for a more complex procedure. So you're seeing specialists. If somebody needs that molar root canal and it's a really hard one, it's a broken file in it, everything, it's horrifying, your only option in general practice is removal or see a specialist. Specialists would not then be covered. So you would not be paying a specialist $100 to do that. You'd be paying them £700 to £800 to do that. Then you can apply for funding, and in certain situations, the NHS will pay for that for the patient. So I've heard of, road traffic accidents, young kids, they've had half their teeth broken off. The government will pay for the implants for them to have that done. So there are situations when you can apply, but not on a routine basis. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes in that needs a molar endo, you can't be applying for funding for that.
So, but for the average implant?
Implant, yes.
For the average implant, are you doing implants?
Yes, but we do them privately because, I mean, if a patient is missing a tooth, you can give them a denture.
So I guess what I'm getting at is when I travel around the world, I get to see all these different business models, and it really makes you think clearly outside the box. But you go to a lot of countries where the insurance is really, really bad. They build up big practices, big clinics, because they're doing 70 to 80 Invisalign starts a month. And the 70 to 80 Invisaligns is why the dentist drives a Mercedes-Benz. Yep. And the whole clinic is just a loss leader attraction. You see it also in dental offices that are doing, they'll build a big low-cost denture clinic, and they'll advertise full dentures for $199, and they're doing that because 20% of them are going to be switched to all on four,
exactly.
$50,000 implant.
Yeah.
So do you kind of use the NHS, and then you have this fee-for-service private clinic where you're doing high-margin stuff? So overall, the business is kind of, what do you call it? What is it? Hooks, swings
and roundabouts.
Swings and roundabouts.
Is
that kind of the swing and roundabout in a way?
Yeah, I mean, NHS will always draw people in because in the UK we have this thing as well that you can't find an NHS dentist. We're like gold dust. If you can find one that's taking patients on. So the reason a lot of practices will not take any more patients on is just because they have too many people to care for to hit those UDA targets. But that is technically a breach of your NHS contract, because another reason why they did this was to improve access, so that because you're almost kind of salaried, you're providing these units of dental activity. The government doesn't care who you do these units on. So it could be you, it could be you, it could be anyone that walks in off the street. And that was the point. It was to say that if somebody turns up and says, hello, I have toothache, I want to be seen, you say, okay, I have an appointment for you in 2 weeks' time. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Because you have an obligation to see these people if you have an NHS contract. So that's one of the reasons they did it. The problem and the grumble that a lot of dentists have is just the system they brought in. This 3-tiered, 3-band system, it was open for misuse because, you've got to look at it from a human being's point of view. Like you quite rightly said, why would you want to, talk somebody into saving a tooth when you could take it out and get paid the same? So that's when the ethical side of it came into it.
So go through the 3 tiers again.
So tier 1, band 1, you get an examination, a scale and polish, any number of x-rays you need, prevention advice, and that's it. That's your band 1. Band 2 is fillings, root canals, extractions, however many you need. So if you are a new patient, this is the flip side. So this is another swing. So you're a new patient, you come in, hello, I haven't been in 10 years, fine, let's have a look. We do your examination, we do your x-rays, you've got 30 cavities that need filling. You are a band 2 treatment. You'll pay $100 for 30 fillings. You need 10 fillings, 2 root canals, 5 extractions. You'll pay $100. You're band 2.
That's insane.
It would take me 3 weeks to treat you. I'm going to get paid the same. Nice, huh?
And then what's band 3?
Band 3 is crowns, dentures, bridges, lab-made structures.
So what if you diagnose all those fillings as needing a crown?
They will be a band 3 treatment maximum for 10 million crowns. You could crown every single tooth and they will pay you. So that 12 UDAs, let's say on average you're £25. 12 times 25 is like $300. They will pay you £300 for 20 crowns.
Okay, so how does this work?
Horrifying, huh?
So how does this work?
Well, that's the swing.
You can't do 30 fillings for $100.
No, you can on the NHS and you lose money. But then that swing that gives you the same money for one filling, that's the way they qualify that. So that was the problem. They made a system that was really difficult to work under for a lot of dentists. Because if you're in really deprived areas, patients are needing a lot of treatment for that band. If you're in really plush areas and they don't ever need anything doing, you're just getting easy money. So that's the moral difficulty. So it depends what type of dentist you are. In my clinic, we do what's necessary for the patient. If it means we take a hit on one, the way I see it is your brand, your business, the way you treat people, the way that they then go and talk about you to other people. Word of mouth marketing is still by far the most powerful. You could be the slickest guy on Google, have the most snazziest website, send out leaflets 100 times a day. If you go and tell them, listen, this is the guy, you need to see this guy because they really looked after me, this person's going to come to you regardless of how good everything else is, right? So if you look after your patients, they will tell other people. So that's the way we look at it in my business. We look after the patients. If they need a root canal, it's going to cost us money to do that for them, we'll do that for them because that's what they need.
So then how are you making money then? So
because we have this NHS contract. So the contract is guaranteed money as long as you do your thing. The associates work well. There are certain situations then where you can provide them with options and they may choose. So that patient that needs 30 fillings, I can put 30 amalgams in them and I've done my job. I've removed the decay, I've put a filling in that I know is going to last 25 years, 30 years. They will be clinically sound and fit and they can go on with their life, no more pain, they can eat and chew and everything's fine. But they don't want 30 amalgams, they want 30 composites. Okay, so if you want composites, then you're going to have to pay £120 for each composite.
Okay, so you're going to upsell. So that's what they sarcastically call in the United States bait and switch. So you bait them with the NHS.
Yeah, and you switch them up onto
and
something
you
else.
switch them.
Yeah,
And-
upselling, we say that here.
Yeah, upselling sounds better.
Well,
Upselling sounds
even
better.
upselling, I mean, we're then going from clinical, very well-educated scientists to salesmen. Is that what we should be? We are though. I'm not saying that's wrong, but we are salesmen. We are selling.
I'll take it one step
dentistry,
further.
Right?
There's no such thing as dental insurance. Insurance is 100 of us drive a car, and we have insurance in case we crash, and only one of us crashes, and everyone else is paying
for that one crash.
So insurance is spreading the risk. We all have fire insurance on our house, but hardly any of us smoke in bed.
Yeah.
And burn our house down. When we do, the other 99 pay. But in dentistry, everyone needs a cleaning. Everyone needs a 6-month cleaning. Everyone's eating sugar. Everyone's getting cavities. So there's no insurance. So you're saying the dentist shouldn't have to be a salesman, but I look at it as like, to this person, I mean, you drank Coke and ate Twinkies and didn't brush and didn't floss, and you have 30 cavities. Why do any of your neighbors have to pay for that? Now, I get... Only 10% of health insurance is actually health insurance. 90% of all the health insurance money in the NHS in England and in the United States is not insurance. Insurance is when all of a sudden you have a heart attack. All of a sudden you cough up blood and you have cancer.
Yeah.
But 90% of it is just going in, I want to check up, take my vitals, maintenance. And why you pay the maintenance on your car, you pay for the oil change on your car. You pay for everything for your house, your car, your iPhone, your vacations. So I would go back to this NHS guy, and I guess I get this lecture whenever I'm in China. Whenever you're in China or Singapore, you can see the Chinese, you can see their brain hurting when they're saying, well, if you drink Coca-Cola and you don't brush and floss, why should Obama pay for your filling?
Yeah.
Why should your employer, why should Honda pay for your root canal when it's all you? I mean, so it's a behavioral disease. You're eating sugar and carbohydrates, and you're not manually disturbing the biofilm.
Yep.
And now the government of England is supposed to pay you. And then when people say that healthcare should be free, what does that mean? Does that mean the police should come to your house and drag you out of bed and drag you to work and chain you to a chair and just beat you and say, just drill? I mean, how could healthcare be free if you got to go to school 8 years, you got to buy all this equipment, you got to do all this stuff? When people say healthcare should be free, I mean, they're thieves. I mean, they don't want anybody to go get them out of bed and have them go work all day for free. But then they go, oh no, we want you to get paid. It's like, okay, well, where is that free money going to come from?
Tax.
So I think the whole
national insurance.
I think the whole dental insurance is better in Singapore, where there is no dental insurance in Singapore, and they have the most vibrant dental industry. There's no dental insurance in China or Brazil or India. And those people, I swear to God, their brain hurts when they start to try to figure out the NHS system. I mean, if you try to explain this to a Chinese dentist in Shanghai, he'd have to take a Motrin because he couldn't get his head around why the government would be involved in subsidizing a preventable disease and then telling you how to drill, fill, and bill it.
I agree with everything you've just said, and that's where the issue lies. It's we, as an industry, we have accepted the duty of care for patients. So basically, we, by the way that things have been treated, so we basically have been in roundabout way saying, listen, you do what you want. The minute it messes up, come and see me and I'll fix it for you. And then you'll pay me a little bit of money to do that. The government will pay me the rest of it to do that. And then you can go away and carry on with your life. And the minute something else messes up, come back and see me again. And I'll just keep doing this for the rest of your life. As opposed to, why don't you fix yourself? Why don't you brush a bit better? Let me show you how to do this. So that's when prevention is now the way, as opposed to restoration. 25, 30, 40, 50 years ago, it was restorative. Everything was restoration dentistry. We were fixing holes. We were kind of drilling out trenches and putting amalgams from 6 to 4. MOD. That was it. Now, we want to stop that happening. Now it's all about prevention. And they've been talking about changing this NHS system for a while into prevention. and paying us to do prevention. Let's see if that happens.
My friend just had a baby girl.
What?
Big shout out to baby Raya. Congratulations, Lindsay, on a new
Nice.
mama.
We have one of those. Good luck. Yeah. So
you have
prevention.
So your children are how old? You
I have a 2.5-year-old daughter and a
2.5-year-old daughter.
7-week-old son.
Right on, man. That is so cool.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
I got a 4-year-old granddaughter,
Wow.
and now
Nice.
my best friend's daughter just had a daughter. The
Excellent.
babies. It's the circle of life continues.
Continues.
So let me ask you about this. We got interrupted by the birth of a newborn baby Raya. So what's the status of water fluoridation in
Water fluoridation.
the United Kingdom? Is it
it's done
is it a communist plot like it is in America?
Well,
Are the Russians coming?
It is, yeah, to fluoridate everyone and mass treat everybody, huh? So we have water fluoridation in certain areas. More north of England, it's done in kind of more deprived areas, and fluoridation we know does work. It can help reduce problems massively. Fluoride in general, I mean, we still have the people that are against fluoride. I still get some patients coming in saying, "Oh no, we will never use a fluoride toothpaste. It's a poison. We're going to kill ourselves with fluoride." But again, for me, it's about educating them into, the uses of it, how it does work. Water fluoridation, if it was up to me, I would want to see all the water fluoridated. And it is naturally in certain areas, but people don't talk about the naturally occurring fluoride in the water.
Well, it's so funny because the patients will come in to me and they'll say, I want the filling material to be all natural. And I say, okay, well, that will be an amalgam because, the star starts with hydrogen, and then it gets so big, the gravity convinces it to hydrogen to helium. That's fusion power. That's the sun. And then when all the hydrogen turns to helium, it collapses, explodes in a supernova, and that's when silver, zinc, palladium, gold, silver, everything in a silver filling is made. Whereas a composite filling is made by dirty, nasty, industrial, profiting men in lab coats in companies. It's all made in test tubes out of chemicals. And they go, oh, well, I want the tooth-colored one.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, then why the frick did you ask me what's natural? And then when these people say, it's one thing when people say that fluoride is toxic, but I hear dentists saying it. It's like, dude, so fluoride is the 13th most common element of the planet. How natural is that?
Nice.
The ocean covers 71% of the Earth, and it's in the ocean at 1.4 part per million. So when we put that in the water at half that amount, half what is found naturally, it reduces decay massively, and you call that a toxin. And I mean, when you hear dentists calling it a toxin, it's almost you just almost
worrying,
want
isn't it?
You just want to almost give up. It's like it's like, how did you get out of dental school and don't know basic biology?
Yeah.
I mean, toxin.
I know,
So
but I'm for it. If we could make it happen, if it was a national, push, a public campaign type thing.
25% of Americans think it's pretty much evil, a communist plot, a toxin.
Unbelievable. I mean, we have that here as well.
Conspiracy. Check this out. So the miners have this byproduct that's so toxic, there's no place they can put it. So they bribe the government officials to let them just slowly pour it into drinking water. It's like, dude, your country has detonated 1,800 nuclear bombs. Don't you think they could pour the fluoride where they're detonating 1,800 nuclear bombs? I mean, you're sure there's no place they can put this toxic fluoride except to pay a government official to sneak it into the water supply?
Yeah.
Because
they could just dump it back out into the ocean.
Yeah, I mean,
why wouldn't they just do that?
And in your assessment now, what % of humans do you think are just completely batshit crazy? I'm just wondering. I'm 53. How jaded are you at 35?
You say?
No, I said I'm 53.
Okay, yes.
Said I was just wondering how jaded is a 35-year-old, because I'm putting at 53. I think at least 80% of all Earthlings are completely batshit crazy.
Are balmy, huh? So hold on, that would mean right now we're in this lovely courtyard here in sunny England.
In fact, some days I think I'm the only normal person on Earth, But Ryan convinces me it's not true.
Well, I mean, right now we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's about 10 of us here.
Yeah.
And there's us 3. So there's at least got to be 30% normal, right?
Well, I don't know. We're the only... There's 10 of us here. That's a great point. There's 10 of us here, and we're the only 2 not drinking. Look at that. That is hilarious.
It's
What
true.
time is it?
What
it's
time is it? Yeah.
It is 12:13,
12:20.
and you, me, and Ryan are the only
These
three not
guys
drinking.
smashing down the beers.
So,
Welcome to the UK,
so
my friend.
I want to. Can I steal you a little more time?
Of course, yeah.
So just we've been an hour. Thank you so much for doing this.
No
but
worries, it's been good.
So I'm just. So you're talking to about 81% American.
Hi.
And then the other 19% are about 140 countries. But
Wow.
what do you think other countries don't know about dentistry in the UK that might be different than dentistry in the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Kathmandu, Nepal?
That's a good question.
Well, are you familiar with any other countries' systems of delivery? Like, what other countries are you familiar with?
A bit of America, because I have some family in California. Obviously, being Persian, there's a lot of us in
So
California.
you're Persian?
Yes.
There's 1 million Iranians in Southern Cal.
Yes.
I'd say 3 out of 4 of all my Iranian dentist friends are in Southern Cal. And I got to tell you can I tell you my favorite thing about Iranians?
Sure.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, Ryan, but they have the most eloquent weddings on earth. I mean, parents of just average background incomes will drop 50 grand on a wedding. And all your Iranian friends, so if you ever get invited to an Iranian Iranian wedding, you never turn it down. And I mean, I'd say everyone I've been to, there's people from 5 different countries at one wedding. I mean, you just don't see that at an American wedding. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. I mean, we love to throw a party. And the cuisine is great, the food is great, people do go all out. We have lots of little ceremony things that go on in the wedding, different bits and bobs. So yeah, it's great. We like I say, we love a party. We love to dance and sing.
How many root canals would you have to do to pay for your daughter's wedding when she grows up?
5 million.
About 5 million. Are you already saving for your daughter's
100%
wedding?
it's happening.
Does the man have to pay for the daughter's wedding?
Ideally. Yeah,
So
the father will pay
the
for
kid, the boy gets off scot-free, but you gotta.
Yeah, I've got to cough up for the daughter. Yeah, 100%. There's a wedding fund already.
There's a wedding fund already.
100%. Yeah.
So how do my homies donate to your daughter's wedding fund? And how do they
find me?
How do they see your videos? We're gonna put the videos on the end of this.
Yes, but
how
we have a
else
website. I have a website for Singing Dentist. And it's singingdentist.co.uk. And all the videos are on there. As a result of this singing stuff, I've kind of had some media attention. I've been on like daytime sort of entertainment TV shows talking about dentistry, trying to raise the awareness of dentistry in the UK. So yeah, it's going all right.
Well, every year we started a townie meeting because these dentists, 215,000 dentists are talking to each other on Dental Town every day, and
nice
50,000 number on the app phone, and they decided 15 years ago that I want to see the guy I'm texting with, you know. And so we started an annual meeting in Vegas every year. It's every April, but so this April in Las Vegas, it'll be at Caesar's Palace. We'll have the our 15th annual townie meeting. Sometime would you come to a townie meeting and
100%.
sing a bunch of rap songs for us?
I would love to come. And so next April we're looking.
April 2017 is the next one.
And it's in Caesar's Palace.
It's in Caesar's Palace. You can go to towniemeeting.com, www.towniemeeting, TOWNIE meeting. And that's because when we started Dental Town, they just started calling each other townies.
Townies, I like that.
And I went to try to buy the name townie or copyright it, but it's a name of a bicycle in Europe. There's a townie bicycle.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
That's for driving around town. But they call themselves townies, so it's townie meeting.
So Vegas is probably my second most favorite place in the world. I've been 7 times.
What's your first most?
My bed.
At home.
Yeah.
So first is home, then second is Vegas?
Yeah.
That's what 7 out of 10 dentists say when we poll them. Yeah. Because we're always saying we've had it in the same place. Maybe they want it in Orlando where there's Disney World. Maybe they want it in Manhattan, London, Hawaii. And every time we survey them, 7 out of 10 come back. And I think it's because it's, why do you like Vegas?
Because anything can happen there. Whatever you want to happen and whatever does happen just stays there, right?
But that's not true because last time I came home with chlamydia and it did not stay in Vegas.
My daughter was conceived in Vegas.
Right on.
So it really didn't. It didn't stay in Vegas at all. It followed me home and it's going to stay with me for 18, 21 years and for life and a really expensive wedding. Let me tell you. So yeah.
Ryan, I'm sorry I don't know where you were conceived. I know your oldest brother Eric, for a fact, was conceived at the Sheridan in Manhattan. Sheridan in San Francisco. I went to a G. John Schoeffel course to learn apicoectomies. He was a Harvard endodontist. He still practices down in Dana Point. One of the best courses I ever had. And I decided to take your mother, and Eric was conceived there.
Yeah.
And we have no pictures of this.
Apical surgery put you in the mood, huh?
Yeah, it was an apicoectomy retrofill. Put me in the mood and caused me to make your brother Eric.
Nice. So yeah, Vegas. I mean, if I would love to come next April, that would be a good time as well because the boy will be kind of old enough that my wife will actually let me leave the house. So yeah, that sounds good. I'll bring a few buddies. We can turn it into a dental event. You know,
well, we'll take him to the bar ride and see if he can drink as much as an American. Do you think you can keep up with the Americans' beers at a bar?
This is
I think
fighting talk, my friend.
This is a manly challenge.
You will lose.
I gotta ask you one question before I let you go.
Yeah.
A cultural issue that we've been hearing in the news in the America. Something about a soccer game that went crazy and they were growling, and then they were talking about maybe banning beer at soccer games. Or did you see that in the news story? It was last week.
Yeah.
So what happened at the soccer game?
So there's been constant trouble. So this is the Euro tournaments, right? So the Euro 2016 is happening right now, the European Football Championships. And
well, it's not football, it's soccer. But continue. We know what you mean. We know what you mean.
Look, can I ask you one question? So this game that you call football, where you pick it up with your hands and throw it, and run after it and catch it again with your hands, and maybe like 2 or 3 times in the game actually kick it with your foot. How is this? Whereas with our sport, we are kicking it constantly with the foot. The foot and the ball are in constant touching, and then occasionally we'll pick it up and throw it in.
So you're saying soccer is the real football?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
What kind of talk is this? You know that game where there's like these men on sticks?
Yeah.
And they do that?
Yeah.
That's table football, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no picking up and throwing. You do foosball.
Yeah.
Is football, dude?
Does Fuß mean foot?
In German.
Fuß means foot in German. I never knew that.
That's it. Foosball. Yes. So anyway, back to this.
Well,
this
I gotta tell you
Yeah.
one soccer thing. One time I was lecturing twice I was lecturing in Africa during the World the World Cup.
Right.
And to be sitting in a bar in I think it was Tanzania, and Africa had 2 teams in the World Cup. I think it was Ghana and some other country.
Probably Nigeria.
And
Cameroon.
And
they have good teams.
And to watch that game in Africa with all these Africans going crazy, and I mean, it makes you a hardcore soccer fan.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I was never a hardcore soccer fan at all until I watched the World Cup in Africa with a bunch of Africans cheering on their team.
Yeah, it
and
really
you
pulls
watch
you in.
that game, and I'm hooked ever since to soccer.
Absolutely. So, but that's the thing. So there's been trouble in the Euros in pretty much quite a few of the games, and unfortunately, the UK, England, especially the England fans, have a bit of a reputation for trouble and fan trouble and the kind of hooliganism and things. But to be fair, it's been a lot of the other countries as well. So the England-Russia match, there was a lot of Russian trouble. There was the game just the other night with Croatia. There was a lot of Croatian fans kicking off.
That's my question. Is it really Russian, Croatian? Because in America, in our football games back home, many of the college stadiums have just said, okay, no more beer. They deemed it was an alcohol problem.
Yeah.
And once they cleaned out the alcohol, these boys all were eager to fight again. Do you think it's a drinking problem, or do you think it's actually a violence problem?
In the UK, in the soccer clubs, soccer, I just did it. How could I do? See,
That
you're
is
rubbing
so
off on
cool.
me.
I converted a Brit to soccer.
It's football. Sorry. So in the football stadiums, you can't actually drink during the game. You can drink at half time, but you can't be in the stands drinking beer. From what I remember, I'm an Arsenal fan. So I used to go to the Arsenal games. There was no alcohol. In rugby, but here's the flip side, it's really strange. Rugby games, you can drink beer, and there's never any trouble at rugby games. But at the football games, where you can't, there's sometimes trouble. So I don't know. I don't know if it's the sport, the fans.
Well,
I don't necessarily think it's
something.
Necessarily the alcohol side.
You just pointed out something very interesting, and that is I'm always telling my boys, you always hear the media saying this caused this. Like the stock market will drop 5%. They'll say it's because the Fed did this, and it's like everything is so oversimplified. Everything is multifactorial. So what you're just saying is there's probably 4 or 5. There could be 10 different reasons of why this is happening. and it's just hilarious to watch.
Unfortunately, some people would just use big events and big sporting things just to make trouble. There's always going to be the troublemakers in the world that just will not go to the picnic without, shitting in the grass, man.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes.
Well, hey, I think you're the coolest person I've met
Thank
in the
you so
United
much for
Kingdom.
having me, man. I really
I want you
appreciate
to come and be the singing dentist at Townie meeting.
Perfect. I'd love to.
Ryan, I'd like to put all. You don't care if we put all your
No,
songs?
100%. I mean,
all of them.
Entertainment.
Send them all after us so these can watch that. I love your energy. I love your karma,
Thank you.
and
No, I really
thank you for
appreciate it.
all that you do for dentistry,
Thank
buddy.
you so much, man. Thanks for
All
having
right,
me.
bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
This might seem crazy what I'm about to say, but as a dentist I see this every day. Patients aren't worried if their gums bleed. Don't you know that could be a sign of gum disease? And you might be gappy if you don't brush your teeth for 2 minutes twice a day. You might be gappy if you don't floss your teeth to clean all that plaque away. You might be gappy if you're smoking 20 a day, then try to cut down, please. You might be gappy if you lose all your teeth because of gum disease. Now you can prevent the gingivitis. Yeah, just book an appointment with a hygienist. Yeah, they will scale your teeth and get right in between. Yeah, and they will help you improve your oral hygiene. And if you don't, well, you might be gappy if you don't brush your teeth for 2 minutes twice a day. You might be gappy if you don't floss your teeth to clean all that plaque away. You might be gappy if you're smoking 20 a day, then try to cut down, please. You might be gappy if you lose all your teeth because of gum disease. And we don't want to see you gappy, 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 gappy. This lady comes in and she don't like the wrinkles on her face. But there's a problem. She's 85 and this is a tricky case. I see the lines. I'm wondering how the hell I'm gonna smooth them. But it's alright, 'cause I know I'm the man for the job. Because I learned from Dr. Bob. She'll need some filler, some PRP, a little bit of Botox in the forehead and crow's feet. She'll need some filler, some thread lifting. So pass me the LMX and then let's get injecting. Ow! Oh, come on. Ooh, yeah. Well, I tried to tell you so. Yes, I did, but I guess you didn't know. Now the bleeding's starting to show that you let the tartar grow. 'Cause what you did, was wrong. When you promised to floss your gums, but you only did it for a week. And I can tell from my BPE that you lied to me. When you said that you'd floss every day, you lied to me. You say you tried, you lied to me. When you said that you'd use a TP, you lied to me. And I know, I can see, return of the plaque. There it is, return of the plaque. Oh no, return of the plaque. The white stuff, I knew that it'd be back in between your teeth. Return of the plaque, once again, return of the plaque. All on your gums, return of the plaque. Oh my God, I knew that it'd be back. Look at the blood. When I see this patient, she always comes in and she makes the same statement. Yeah, saying she don't eat no chocolate, saying she don't eat no sweets, saying she don't eat no biscuits, and she don't drink fizzy drinks. But listen, please don't lie to me, please don't tell me porkies, cause I know you eat the sweeties, cause you've got 20 cavities. Ooh, I think that I found myself a sweet eater. There's always a new hole when I see her. Ooh, I think that I found myself a sweet eater. There's always a new hole when I see her. Now this lady is real nice. Oh, but she doesn't listen to the diet advice. No. When I say reduce the sugar and reduce the frequency, use a straw for fizzy drinks and don't put sugar in your tea. But then she keeps on lying to me, keeps on telling me porkies, but I know you eat the sweeties, cause you've got 20 cavities. Ooh, I think that I found myself a sweet eater. There's always a new hole when I see her. Ooh, I think that I found myself a sweet eater. There's always a new hole when I see her. Yeah! This is how we brush teeth. This is how we brush teeth. La 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 la. Right, check it out. This is how we brush teeth. First take your toothbrush and then take some toothpaste. A pea-sized amount is just enough. And then I put my brush down on the bottom right. Brush really slow over to the left side. And then I go on the inside. And then I come back right round to the right side. It feels so smooth on my tooth. Alright, and then I go up top and I repeat. Go really careful not to miss out any teeth. You gotta get the technique right or else they won't be clean. So pick up your brush and put your paste on and let me hear you all scrubbing. Cause you gotta brush both day and night. This is how we brush teeth. Make sure your toothpaste has got fluoride. This is how we brush teeth. And until they're 7, supervise kids. This is how we brush teeth. And when you're done, the advice is spit, don't rinse. Check it out. Once upon a time, this guy said to me, every time I brush my gums bleed. And I said that's not how it's meant to be. So I showed him modified bass technique. That means holding the brush at 45 degrees up towards the gum and massage gently. And don't press too hard, that's not how it's done. It doesn't clean better, it just rubs away the gums. Oh, I'm brushing because this is how we brush teeth. Who wants gum disease? Nobody does. And I don't want tooth decay. No. So I'll brush for 2 minutes twice a day. Yeah. Cause you gotta brush both day and night. This is how we brush teeth. Make sure your toothpaste has got fluoride. And I don't want tooth decay. No. So I'll brush for 2 minutes twice a day. Yeah. Ooh! I said you wanna do some teeth whitening. You want to do some teeth whitening. We'll see your dentist and do whitening. Don't do illegal teeth whitening, cause you need peroxide or your teeth won't go white. And it could be lethal if you did it illegal. Like with a beautician, they're not qualified people. Or in the shopping centre, well, that's not legal. Now I had this patient last week who didn't like the brown teeth. So I said, what are you drinking? They said 25 cups of coffee. Well, I said we could start today with some bleach and home trays. But they said, Doc, that's okay. I already bought that off eBay. You wanna do some teeth whitening? You want to do some teeth whitening? We'll see your dentist and do whitening. Don't do illegal teeth whitening, cause you need peroxide or your teeth won't go white. And it could be lethal if you did it illegal. Like with a beautician, they're not qualified people. Or in the tanning salons, well, that's not legal. Now listen to what I told ya, and don't use baking soda. And I think you'd be loco if you try whiten with cocoa. But see your dentist, we could use Polar, or we could use Zoom whitening, or we could use the boutique, or we could use Enlighten. You wanna do some teeth whitening? You want to do some teeth whitening? We'll see your dentist and do whitening. Don't do illegal teeth whitening. Mama say, mama sa, mama kusa. Mama say, mama sa, mama kusa.
To move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it.
I like your molars, molars. I like your molars, molars. I like your molars, molars. I like your molars. I like your molars, molars. I like your molars, molars. I like your molars, molars. I like your molars. All patients all over the world. Original singing dentist on your case, man. I love when my patients keep their recalls, because when you don't miss appointments, I can keep your teeth nice and clean and healthy. Alright, so please attend regularly. Every 6 months, come and see me. Don't leave until an emergency, cause you might have some pain and that's not good to see. No, dentally fit, dentally fit. We want to keep you dentally fit, so don't miss your appointments. It puts a stress on the NHS. You want nice teeth, white and clean. Brush twice a day and floss in between. You want nice teeth, white and clean. Brush twice a day and floss in between. And if you don't want cavities, reduce the sugar and don't eat the sweets. If you don't want that gum disease, brush really well and don't smoke ciggies. No, I like your molars, molars. I like your molars, molars. I like your molars, molars. I like your molars. I like your molars, molars. I like your molars, molars. I like your molars, molars. We like your molars.